think that it's much more complicated than the way it's portrayed, that it isn't just Taliban fighting international forces, that the Taliban are many groups, and much of the fighting is tribal fighting and feuds between local villagers and not Taliban at all. I would say the most important quality that you need is determination, that you have to always start off on the basis that no is a negotiating position rather than accepting no, you're not being allowed somewhere. And I would say that it's the most fascinating thing. It's to be able to talk to people of all levels, so villagers, presidents, military, and just tremendous privilege to be able to meet and hear all the stories. And I guess the single most lesson I have is that everybody has a story. I started off wanting to be a novelist, actually, and then I discovered very early on that real life stories are actually much more fascinating and often quite unbelievable. I think our responsibility as journalists is giving voice to voiceless people, putting their stories out there. So, and that is extremely important. But sometimes you are, of course, putting people at risk by doing that, and they have to be fully aware. And if you think that they are not aware or not in a condition where they would be aware, then it's up to you to actually protect them, whether protecting their identity. And a country where I've had to face that a lot is Zimbabwe, because I reported from there a lot, and it was illegal for foreign journalists to enter. And so anybody that I interviewed, I was actually putting at risk, because at the end of the day I would sneak out, but they were still having to live there. And if they were seen speaking to a foreign journalist, then that could be a huge problem for them from a despotic regime. So, it was very difficult. Was it worth putting people at risk by going into their village? But on the other hand, wasn't it important for people outside to know how bad the situation was? So often there, I'm afraid I had to do something which I don't like doing, which was not presenting myself as a journalist. going into places and going with local church workers, and who knew, of course, what I was, but pretending to the local people that I was just a church volunteer and we were taking food to them, because that was a way of protecting them. If Mugabe's secret police then came and said, why were you speaking to that white woman? They could say, well, she just came from church and brought some rice and beans, or, so in principle it's not a good way of carrying out journalism, but in a situation like that, it was about the only way you could really do it.